After the end of the Great War, it came to light that atrocities were being committed, not only on the battlefields, but also beyond them, in secret workrooms of the First Circle.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we're doing the first impressions of The Last Case of Benedict Fox. This thing just came out a couple hours ago, and it is fantastic. It kind of merges two different worlds together. It brings the metroidvanias of Rogue Legacy, of Hollow Knight, in with other point-and-click horror adventure games like, Maiden Skur, The Man from Medan, even Sherlock Holmes games. There's a lot of aspects to it that at the beginning you're kind of trying to figure out who did this, who did that, and you have to fight monsters, progress through different areas before you find those clues. So it's a really cool, novel take on those two genres. As you see here, basically all the footage is kind of snippets of me playing. Right here, I'm about to get to the first real two enemy fight, where the game's teaching you can parry, you can also hit, you can also shoot, you can also dodge. There's a lot of cool mechanics that you can mix together. It flows pretty well. The only thing that I did notice is that when you're attacking, you can do at most a 3-hit combo, which kind of feels a little bit weird because you kind of stagger yourself after that. But overall, the game felt great and it looks fantastic. The color schemes, it looks great. And the first hour or two is just basically you figuring stuff out. Like here, I'm literally jumping to my death in that pool of death several times because I didn't realize, I probably need a double or triple jump or some other skill I don't have just yet. I do appreciate the fact that there is a map here, like what Hollow Knight did and how they added that, because as somebody who's directionally challenged, I can't keep track of where I've been and where I haven't been. Reached the first boss fight as well. It's called the Librarian. This thing absolutely destroyed me a couple of times. I didn't realize, the types of moves I needed to use. Do we have iframes? Do we not have iframes? What kind of moves can be blocked? What kind of moves can't be blocked? So as you can see here, I'm about to just get destroyed. One more hit and I'm dead. You get 4 lives basically, and there's my first death against the Librarian. I went in there thinking, okay, I'm gonna destroy this thing. Nope. And I went in there the second time and I was like, okay, we're gonna destroy this thing, and I died again. And a third time, and a fourth time, and a fifth time, and a sixth time, and a seventh time, up to the point where, this time I finally reached the boss, but I think this is probably the 5th or 6th attempt where I finally learned the fight. And I'll make a separate video for this fight because it's actually pretty good. You can parry a lot of the moves, and what you can't parry, you can kind of run away from and dodge. So I like the design. There's a lot of good textures in this game. A lot more high def than you'd see in other games, like for example, like Hollow Knight or any other Metroidvania. This is probably the best looking Metroidvania, and my PC definitely thought so too, because the whole time I was running it, it was working. It was pumping out some heat. That video card was doing some work the whole time. So the boss fight, really cool. The first phase has just a left tentacle. The second phase has a right tentacle coming in. Lots of attacks. A lot of them are telegraphed, so you know exactly what's happening. And after the 2 tentacles go away, you're facing basically just the head itself. With the head itself, it still illuminates the ground, and you're hitting the sides. You're trying to pop those little zits on either side of his face. It's not really too difficult of a fight. I think what was the hardest part originally was the fact that it's a new game, new mechanics, trying to get used to all this stuff. I wasn't very sure about it, so I think the next couple of boss fights will be a little bit better because you get used to all of the mechanics, all of the dodges, all the jumping, the shooting. The controller scheme is a little bit weird in the game. I don't love the fact that rolling involves you tapping on the right stick, left or right, so that your character rolls either left or right. I would much rather have preferred like a roll button like B, for example, where you're holding the left stick towards the left and pressing B, and then you roll that way. Because then if your thumb is on the stick and it's on the right stick and you have to roll left or you have to roll right, what ends up happening is that distance is very far to then go back to a jump if you have to do it immediately after that. Whereas, if you're having the jump and roll buttons close together, it's much more easy to sync those two things together. There's also puzzles in this game. As you see here, I'm trying to figure out this lockpick. So that's kind of neat, right? This is definitely not anything to do with the Metroidvania genre. It has to do with the point and click horror adventure game genre. You get a lot of these types of puzzles. So here I have 3 keys and I'm trying to figure out how do I open this lock. Basically, I need to bring all 3 of those levers down, but a key can only fit in the correct slot. So I have 3 keys. I just need to figure out which one goes where. I think this problem is taking me a little bit longer than it should have, but I do end up getting there. It's actually really refreshing because a lot of times Metroidvanias are very high adrenaline, go, 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 fight. You're having 1,000 things coming at you. So when you have stuff like this in between, it's kind of like taking a breath. It's a de-stressor. It is absolutely refreshing to do. I don't know if I'll say the same by the end of the game, but so far I'm happy to see these mechanics in here. Because like I said before, these are 2 genres you never would have thought would come together, but it works, and it works really great. The developers are phenomenal. They've just done so much good work for the game. As you can see here, we're about to get into another room. There are a lot of notes to pick up in the game. There's a lot of collectibles. The one thing I want to also mention is the fact that some games have way too many collectibles. So far, this hasn't been bad because it points out where all those collectibles are on your map. So when the map is opened up, you basically see question marks everywhere. And those question marks show you things you have not yet picked up, but are part of the collectibles pack. And I really appreciate games that do that because I absolutely hate it when you don't know what you've missed and where you've missed it, and then you end up having to use a guide online. Here, you can pretty much get absolutely everything yourself, right? You might not have the abilities to do it at the very beginning, but you can always backtrack and get them later. And I do really appreciate the developers doing that. As you can see, we're in the house now. So a lot of stuff happens in the house where you're basically going to explore more and more rooms of the house, exploring more clues. This is pretty typical stuff. Here's a numeric door that we have absolutely no way to open just yet. We don't know what the combination is or what we're supposed to do, but it's there, right? Really cool. Cool designs for some of these puzzles. I don't think they're going to be overly complicated, but you also probably can't just guess your way through them, which is good, right? You want to be able to actually go through the game, get the answers at the right points, and then open up what you're supposed to open when you're supposed to open it up. So again, like I said, the map really great. You can even see the NPCs, right? Like we have Harry here. He has an exclamation mark over his head, and he actually has a shop. He's the shop owner. So when I came across Harry the first time, I was like, okay, this is my miracle water. This is my potion. So I can upgrade the quantity or I can upgrade the quality. Pretty typical stuff for Metroidvanias or Souls games, right? You're upgrading your potion. In that shop itself, there are more than just potions to upgrade. There's something that kind of turns you into a rock. And then there's also a smoke bomb. So there's 3 different items that you can upgrade in the shop. There's a lot of stuff to interact with in the house itself. Right, I'm just running around here, kind of trying to figure out where to go. It can be a little bit slow-paced at times, like with any point-and-click adventure game where you're trying to figure out what's the next thing, where's your next clue, where you're supposed to go. I guess similarly with Metroidvanias too, right? Sometimes you'll hit a dead end and you're like, okay, where am I supposed to go next? Because it's on probably completely the opposite side of the map, but at least the game does show you your main quests. It shows you the side quests when you open up the map, so you know kind of where you're going to be going. Now we're going back to the shop, right? I'm looking at the miracle water. This is what I was talking about, the stone plate device. I have no idea what that does. But when I tried it, it turned me into stone. So I'm assuming I can turn myself into stone to eat an unblockable attack at some point and I won't get hit by it. I haven't really tried it yet, but that's what I'm assuming that it's going to be doing for us. So overall, I'm a huge fan of Benedict Fox. I played it probably an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, because it was a little bit slower me trying to figure out all the controls and then trying to figure out all the clues at the beginning. But overall, I'm having a great time with the game. There's absolutely nothing bad I'd like to say about the game yet. So I guess we'll, stay tuned to see what else is coming, because once I finish the game, we'll do another review and kind of go over all the other points. And guys, like always, if you enjoyed the video, please like it and then subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.